Welcome to the Kilally Infrastructure Project Public Update Meeting. We'll be having an in-person session on December 4th. I will share more details at the end of the presentation, or feel free to scan the QR code for more details. Before we get started, I want to let everyone know who has joined that we are recording the meeting, and a copy of it will be published on the Projects Get Involved webpage right after this. I see people are continuing to join on. So we'll just give it another minute before we get started. Anyone just joining on, welcome again. We have city staff and our project consultant here today to explain more about the project and to answer any questions. So we have about 13 people joining us today. Let's get started. So my name is Taylor. I'm a communications specialist with the City of London. I want to thank you all for coming. Please note that you will be muted for the presentation and your video camera will be turned off for the duration of the webinar. Today, the project team will be here to speak on construction impacts and show design drawings for the Kilally infrastructure project. The presentation will then be followed by a question and answer period. To ask your question, we ask that you please use the Q&A feature on Zoom. This icon is located at the bottom of your screen and is marked with the word Q&A. So if you have a question, feel free to type it in at any point during this webinar, and we will answer questions at the end of the presentation. If you have a question but are not comfortable asking it while this meeting is being recorded, you are welcome to contact the project team after the meeting. Your comments are also welcome and we'll be collecting them for review. Please leave a comment in the Q&A and the team will review them all after this meeting. So to start, I'd like to begin with a land acknowledgement. Thank you. We acknowledge that we are gathered today on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee, Lenape, and Adirondack. We acknowledge that all the treaties that are specific to this area, the Two-Row Wampum Belt Treaty of the Haudenosaunee, Confederacy Silver Covenant Chain, the Beaver Hunting Grounds of the Haudenosaunee-Nanfan Treaty of 1701, the McKee Treaty of 1790, the London Township Treaty of 1796, the Huron Tract Treaty of 1827, with the Anishinaabe and the Dish with One Spoon Covenant Wampum of the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee. This land continues to be home to diverse Indigenous people whom we recognize as contemporary stewards of the land and vital contributors to society. We hold that is all in the natural world in our highest esteem and give honor to the wonderment of all things within creation. We bring our minds together as one to share good words, thoughts, feelings, and sincerely send them out to each other and to all parts of creation. We're grateful for the natural gifts in our world, and we encourage everyone to be faithful in the natural laws of creation. The three Indigenous nations that are neighbors to London are the Chippewas of the Thames, First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames, and the Munsee Delaware Nation, who all continue to live as sovereign nations with individual and unique languages, cultures, and customs. This land acknowledgement is the first step towards reconciliation. Awareness means nothing without action. It is important that everyone takes the necessary steps towards decolonizing practices. We encourage everyone to be informed with the traditional lands, treaties, histories, and cultures of the Indigenous people local to their region. And with that, I'll pass it over to Peter to introduce our presenters today.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Taylor. As mentioned, my name is Peter Kavik. I'm the manager of subdivisions and development inspections, and I'm one of the project managers from the city side on this project. Also with me today is Trevor Hitchin, who's a senior technologist with us here at the city. And then we also have our project consultant from Stantec, Simon Jeter, and he is the project manager assisting deliver this project forward through construction. Today's presentation overview, we will highlight some of the design details along Kilally Road and the Kilally infrastructure project. We'll touch on the infrastructure phasing, as well as the road improvements that are planned at the cross sections, as well as the intersections through this infrastructure project. Following that, we'll touch on some of the tree impacts and traffic impacts you can anticipate, followed by next steps for the project, as well as a Q&A session at the end. And with that, I will pass it to Simon.
Thanks, Peter. Again, I'm Simon Jeter with Stanta Consulting, acting as project manager for this one. Just a general project overview. This project is basically runs from Kilally Road all the way to Clark Road, and then an additional outlet goes down towards the Thames River. The first phase is from Kilally Road from Webster to Sanford Street. That's going to go to an urban section, and it basically includes curb and gutter, sidewalks, bike lanes, and some hydropole relocations. The second part of Kilally Road is from Sanford heading east to Clark Road. This section is going to be restored as a semi-urban platform. It includes ditches, bike lanes that are going to be along the shoulder, no sidewalks or curbs along this section. There's also a section of Sanford Street from about 200 meters south of Kilally Road that's going to be realigned. We have acquired some land through there, so we're going to be pushing the road to a proper center line of road. And then beyond that 200 meters, there's going to be some resurfacing down into Tornado Place for about 480 meters. Along Kilally Road itself, we're looking at new water mains, storm and sanitary sewers. The sewers are very deep along Kilally Road. They range anywhere from 4 to 12 meters in depth. To support this storm, there's also a new outlet that's going to run along the west side of Clark Road from Kilally down towards the Thames River. Construction timeline. We're currently, you can see we're in the detailed design stage, and we're hoping to push that tender towards the end of this year and into January. So the tender will probably be out and kind of span through the holiday season and into January. Our first phase of construction is anticipated in early 2025. We're hoping to get out there and be breaking ground in and around April. The first phase of the project is going to be from along Kilally Road from just east of Sanford all the way to Clark Road, and then the outlet structure down towards the Thames River. So that'll be our first phase taking place in 2025. During that time, there is some utility relocations that are going to occur between Webster and Sanford Street. The second phase of the project is going to go in 2026, and it'll basically be that stretch from Webster to Sanford and a little piece down Sanford Street. That allowing time for utilities to come in 2025 and get out of the way well ahead of us. And there is a significant road cut that's got to happen along that section of the road. We're hoping to be completely wrapped up the bulk of the construction by the end of 2026, and then we'll return in 2027 just to undertake the top coat asphalt and any final deficiencies. One thing I did miss, we are doing a pre-clearing of the trees. So the trees we're looking at taking down probably in between January and ahead of the March 31st breeding bird window. So our first phase of construction, again, April to December 2025, you can see the highlighted area in green is generally our work zone. This will allow us to get the installation of the storm sanitary and the water main along this section of Kilally Road. The road widening will take place along this piece to accommodate the bike lanes. Again, there's no sidewalks in this piece, and we are working within the existing right-of-way of Kilally. No additional lands have been taken in this section. Utility relocations are going to be occurring in the west limits between Webster and Sanford. There's some hydropole relocations, some bell and some gas in this vicinity. So again, our first stage of the work will focus in this highlighted green area. Phase 2 is April to December of 2026. It's highlighted in the yellow. There's a significant road cut through this portion, and again, we'll be replacing the storm sanitary sewers and water main along this section, along with widening the road to the full 36-meter platform is what the city's acquired. So for now, we'll have the 2 single lanes. We'll have a dedicated bike and concrete sidewalk that are going to be off the road for this portion. So some improvements on the cross sections. You can see this section is basically a general snapshot of the Sanford to Clark Road section. We do have the ultimate shown here, although we're not acquiring all these right away at this point. We're going to stick to kind of what's shown on the bottom of the slide, where we've got the existing property lines, and you can see the slightly widened platform to allow for the bike lanes. And again, no sidewalks in this area, and ultimately the poles would be set back, but along this piece, not part of this current contract. Second cross section I'm showing here is basically the section from Webster to Sanford Street. Again, here you can see we've got the dedicated bike lanes and sidewalks that are off the road. We've got our 2 lanes of traffic, and we are showing the full 36-meter right of way with the new hydro pole locations. And that's all going to take place as part of this contract. And you can see the current cross section. It's just a single lane in each direction with some gravel shoulders and minimal ditches. And the hydro poles currently are located very tight to the edge of pavement. So we're going to be improving that situation. Some of the intersection improvements are included as part of the project. This is the intersection at Sanford. You can see the off-street bike and sidewalks and how they're going to transition into the bike lanes that are going to be on the road as you move further east through the project. We are also, like I'd mentioned earlier, we are realigning a piece of Sanford Street, and we are going to have a dedicated turn lanes to help you get onto Kilally Road. The other major intersection is Kilally Road at Clark. And again, here we're widening the platform out to allow for a left turn lane off of Kilally onto Clark Road. As part of the project, there's a number of trees that do have to come down, a total of 222 trees. They do range in size. A lot of them along this section are quite small, which is definitely a benefit. We're not losing as many of the larger trees. Along Clark Road, we're losing about 53 trees, and you can kind of see it in this image. It's basically to allow us to get the new outlet structure down towards the Thames River, which is this line that you can see kind of running north-south along here to the new outfall structure. Along Kilally Road, we're looking at about 169 trees that have to be removed. Most of the trees are coming out due to constructability and grading. Some of them are coming out due to utility relocations of hydro and gas. Some do come out for just a public safety perspective as they're too close to the road, or they will be too close to the widened platform. And then we are also going through and removing trees that are in poor health and or already dead. And you can see just off to the side, we've kind of got a species, a list of trees that are currently. Anticipated traffic impacts are going to be quite significant. Due to the depths of the sewers, each phase of the project is going to have a full road closure. This image is kind of depicting the whole project, but earlier on, as I mentioned, phase 1 is going to be from Sanford to Clark Road. So that section will be completely shut down during construction. The contractor will make concessions to get residents in and out and service any businesses along this piece. There are only about 5 homes along this section. So as far as these types of projects go, it should be quite easy to maintain access for these people. And basically we can have daily conversations as needed if we have to shift entrances in and out, because at times you'll only be able to approach from one end or the other. This is in part due to the narrow right of way in the depths of the sewers. There's no way to keep both open for the residents, unfortunately. So Stantec, the city, and the contractor will work diligently with the property owners to make sure we can get everybody in and out of their homes on an as-needed basis. And then the second year, it'll be a similar impact between Webster and Sanford. Along that section, there is only one home that's going to be impacted. So we'll work with that property owner to make sure they get access in and out. And during that period of time, Kilally Road would be opened back down to Clark. A big thing here is we're out to mitigate construction impacts as best we can for the public. The city continues to emphasize communication and coordinating to minimize potential impacts to residents and businesses during construction. And there will be additional resources provided to the residents and the surrounding businesses. Our next steps, we're basically going to be wrapping up our finalized detailed design and getting out to tender. The city will be sending notices out to residents and impacted business and property owners ahead of construction. And again, construction is scheduled to begin in early 2025 with an overall completion date of summer of 2027. Some ways of staying informed on the project. We are having an in-person drop-in session on Wednesday, December 4th from 6 to 7 at the North London Community Center, and we'll be able to further answer any questions and provide some more detailed drawings for you to review. It'll show the depths of the sewers, and you can kind of see a little more of the details that can be provided at that time. You can also sign up for email notifications at getinvolved.london.ca Kilally Infrastructure Project. And you can also feel free to reach out to the project team. Trevor's contact's attached to this slide, and there is also a QR code for additional information that's been provided. So I'll just open it up to questions.
So thank you. We will now begin to take questions. Thank you, Simon. To ask your question, please use the Q&A feature on Zoom. This icon is located at the bottom of your screen and is marked with the word Q&A. Your comments are also welcome, and we'll be collecting all of them for the project team to review after the meeting. If you have any questions about specific properties or details that you would like to discuss individually with the team, you can leave your contact information in your comments or connect with us directly with us through email, phone call, or submitting your question through the project webpage on Get Involved. So let's dive into some questions. So the first question is, what is the plan for traffic diverted onto Webster?
I don't mind taking this one here, Simon. So during the road closures, there will be detour signage set up. We'll try to focus the detour signage where we want commuters to go along some of those more major roads, so like Highbury, Huron Street, Clark Road. Fully recognizing residents may take the shorter route, whether it's Webster Street or Sanford, depending on the construction. We are looking to install temporary traffic calming. So whether that's those screen flexible bollards you see, probably be more of the yellow color if they are in the middle of the road. But that would be one mechanism the city could use to help mitigate some of the speeds or traffic that tries to use those routes, even though they're not designated as the traffic detour route. Hopefully that answers that resident's question, Taylor.
Great, thanks, Peter. Are there any plans for water SS/SW services on Webster as part of this project or future project?
I don't mind taking that one again, Simon. Currently on Webster Street, as part of this project, there's no plans. But that's not to say there couldn't be future plans as this area continues to develop. But at the moment, there are no plans for water or sewer along that stretch of road.
Perfect. Next question is, please explain the drainage on the west side of Webster Street.
Simon, that one's a little more detailed. You have some information on that one?
Yeah, along the west side of Webster Street is kind of outside our limits currently. There is storm sewers that are going to be extended down Kilally, tie into Webster, that ultimately go to the north along Edge Valley and outlet through an existing swim pond. But west of Webster, there's really no work as part of this project.
Thanks, Simon. And another question, will new trees be planted and how many?
Thanks, Taylor. For this question, so the city is working with our forestry team to determine when trees will be planted and how many. And it likely would be the city forces or their forestry contractor coordinating that. And not a definitive answer on when they'd be planted, but we are still coordinating those details. And if they were, it would be definitely planted after the 2027 construction date, potentially even starting in 2028.
Great, thanks, Peter. I'm not seeing any more questions as of right now. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining us. Oh, one more question just popped up. Is the project including sanitary sewers from Sanford to Clark?
Yeah, I can take this question. Yeah, sanitary sewers are extending all the way along Kilally. Basically, they're going to enter the newest the next phase of Edge Valley, which is just to the west of Sanford, and they will extend all the way down to Clark Road, and ultimately providing service for a future subdivision of Caver Hill on the southeast side of Clark and Kilally. So full sanitary servicing is going to be installed for this area.
Great, thanks, Simon. One more question here. What is the standard for bike lanes?
Yeah, I can take that one, Taylor. So within the urban cross section where there's the curbs and sidewalks from Webster to Sanford, we are providing the off-road dedicated cycling facility on both the north and south side, recognizing the need for separation there. With the section of road from Sanford to Clark, because it's still the rural cross section, with a narrow road allowance, what we're doing is creating more of a widened platform there to enable some bike lanes. But until that section of road becomes urbanized, which we're not sure when that date is, depending on future development needs. But once that road section is urbanized, then we'd look to advance those off-road dedicated bike lanes in the boulevard.
Great, thanks, Peter. I'm not seeing anything else. I'll just give it a minute before we wrap up here. Oh. An additional ask to the last question is why switch east of Webster?
I can take that Taylor, sorry, just pulling up infrastructure. So east of Webster, we're going in the boulevard because we acknowledge as this area continues to develop, there'll be larger volumes. West of Webster, I think existing infrastructure now is on road. We're, as part of our project, transitioning to in Boulevard, but the city could come back in a future date along that existing built-up section to either improve that cycling facility or make the switch from on road to in Boulevard. Hopefully that answered the resident's question.
Great, I'll give it one more minute for any last minute questions before we wrap up. Okay, looks like we're getting another question. But I will direct that question to the project team. So, Sean, if you could get a hold of the project team, that would be great. Oh, it's still regarding the bike lanes. He's asking, doesn't Boulevard that cause issues at the intersection regarding the bike lanes?
I guess if there's more clarity, Taylor, we can always take that question offline
Offline,
with
yeah.
Sean.
Okay.
But for the transition from the Boulevard bike lanes along Kilally from Webster to Sanford, we are transitioning those bike lanes, like
Okay.
after the intersection, right, Simon? I believe that's how we have it shown.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, thank you for everyone for joining us today. We'll be posting this presentation on the project's webpage tomorrow and collecting any additional comments or feedback through the Get Involved website. So thank you for joining us, and please contact the project team with any further comments or questions. Thanks, everyone. Bye.